Bronze Iron Age, 3000 to 600 BCE. One of the most disturbing punishments of the ancient world was Scaphism, a slow, agonizing death invented by the ancient Persians. The victim was trapped between two boats, with their arms and legs left hanging out. They were then force-fed milk and honey and coated with it, attracting insects that would feed and lay their eggs directly on the exposed flesh. Within days, the victim was dead, either from the flesh rotting away or from severe dehydration. This punishment was reserved for those who committed adultery or theft. Classical Antiquity, 600 BCE to 500 CE. One of the most feared punishments of this era was crucifixion. The condemned were nailed to a wooden cross, nails driven through their wrists and feet. What made it especially torturous was the breathing. The position made it nearly impossible to draw a full breath, creating a constant feeling of suffocation. To survive even a moment longer, victims had to push themselves upward on the nails just to inhale, until their strength gave out completely and they died from exhaustion. The Romans used crucifixion as punishment for treason and impiety. Early Middle Ages, 500 to 1000 CE. Have you ever imagined what it would feel like to be buried alive? For people of this era, it was not just a nightmare, it was a legal punishment. Victims were sealed inside a coffin and buried beneath the earth. The space was so tight that movement was impossible, triggering immediate and severe panic. Death came slowly, through suffocation or dehydration, over the course of several days. This punishment was commonly used for adultery and breaking oaths. High and Late Middle Ages, around 1000 to 1500 CE. Those convicted of treason or religious dissent faced one of history's most horrifying methods of execution, rat torture. The victim was strapped down, and a barrel containing live rats was placed on their body. On the other side of the barrel, an executioner held a flame. Desperate to escape the heat, the rats had only one way out, through the victim's flesh. The result was extreme, prolonged suffering, as the rats tore through skin and muscle from the outside in. This method was used in the Dutch Republic and parts of medieval Europe. Early Modern Period, around 1500 to 1750. This era saw one of the most calculated methods of prolonging suffering, death by sawing. The condemned were hung upside down, with their feet bound to a wooden beam above them. An executioner then sawed from the groin downward. Being inverted meant blood continued flowing to the brain, keeping the victim conscious for as long as possible through the ordeal. Death, when it finally came, was caused by catastrophic blood loss. Records of this method appear across medieval Europe and the Ottoman Empire. Age of Reform and Revolution, 1750 to 1850. This period marked a turning point. For the first time, people began to question whether punishment should cause suffering at all. The guillotine was born from that idea. It was invented by a doctor, Joseph Ignace Guillotin, specifically designed to make execution as painless and quick as possible. During the Reign of Terror from 1793 to 1794, political opponents were publicly executed with it, including, eventually, Robespierre himself, the very man who had ordered thousands to the blade. The condemned were placed with their neck between two wooden blocks, and a heavy blade dropped from above, decapitating them in an instant. Compared to everything that came before, it was considered an act of mercy. Today, human rights laws have outlawed punishments like these. In most countries, the harshest sentence is life imprisonment. Around 55 nations still permit the death penalty, though it is designed to be as painless as possible. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Every single era believed its punishments were justified, proportional, even humane. The Romans saw crucifixion as appropriate justice. The French genuinely believed the guillotine was merciful progress. Every generation thought they had finally gotten it right. So the real question is not how barbaric the past was. It is what future generations will think when they look back at us.